Welcome to Brave Central. Barrett Sallee, Chris Dimino. This is what we've been waiting for. There are series before the season. You look at that schedule, and they are must win, must visit, must get those tickets, all of the above. And that's exactly what we have this week as the Los Angeles Dodgers come into town. Chris, this is going to be fun. Now, granted, the four-city road trip did not go according to plan, but had a day off. Everybody relax, decompress, because the Dodgers are in town.
Yeah, the only thing missing, and I say this, I wish it was a weekend series, because I always wish it was a weekend series when somebody big comes in. Now, I like the idea you could sell more tickets, people in the Battery, get a chance to make more money because the Dodgers are certainly a draw. But it's sort of like a concert in the middle of the day. Like if you're one of the acts that actually shows up when the sun is up at an outdoor venue, doesn't really feel the same. Lights come down, it gets dark out, and the headliners come on. This feels like it should be a weekend series. It will be interesting to see how it goes in a couple of different ways. We talked about it with the Brewers. 3-3 now on the season series. What does it mean? Well, tiebreakers, division record will actually be a tiebreaker. Up 2-1 on the Dodgers. We'll find out. If you're 4-2, you have the tiebreaker. Put it in the bank. You end up 3-3, it's going to be a similar thing. And wouldn't that be interesting if all three of these teams are looking at, wait, is there a chance divisional record matters? Now, the Braves have actually not done themselves any favor recently because, as we said, Philadelphia is closer to us than we are to Milwaukee and the Dodgers even at this point when you look at the loss column, which is the number you have to look at. But more of that conversation will take place certainly after Thursday's game. And then once we hit September, if everybody starts this, okay, wait, what's at stake here? There's a really good chance with these three teams, and let's throw Philadelphia in as well because they've earned the right to be thrown in. Let's talk about a four-team race to actually figure out what it's all going to be playing for in that last week. There's no downside for Major League Baseball in that department when there's more conversation, not less, going into the final week of a season.
Yeah, and now for the Braves, you do know where you stand with Milwaukee. Yes, you have that 3-3 series split, so you does come down to division record. That's in the bank. That's knowledge. Everybody knows it. But yeah, you're right. With the Philadelphia Phillies, you have to worry about them in the conversation for one of those two spots as a bye, especially for this Braves team where you got a couple series left with Philadelphia. Yeah. So there's a lot going on in terms of the NL East and in terms of the two byes in the National League. For this Braves team, I know it did not go according to plan. The offense is still a concern, a big concern. But 11 hits against the Brewers in Williamsport, that's a step forward. Now, the scoreboard didn't really reflect that. No, the runners in scoring position did a little bit, but the scoreboard didn't reflect that. You still have to be better in the clutch. You have to be better with runners in scoring position. You have to turn those into doubles rather than singles and take the extra bases and all of that stuff. But a step forward in the right direction. I like the fact that Michael Harris had that key home run. That is the sort of stuff that we saw early this season. So a step forward, not a huge leap forward, but a step forward against Milwaukee and Williamsport. A fun atmosphere, a fun game, a big game for the Braves. It was very refreshing to get that win on the way out coming back home.
Yeah, but we had talked about it. Getting healthy offensively against Milwaukee was not going to be easy, and it certainly wasn't. Thank goodness you do end up with the win. But the magic number is still 5. 5 runs is the magic number for this team. Hitting home runs is the elixir for this team. Hitting multiple home runs, winning a home run battle by 2. Go look at how the numbers jump up. Look at what the record is when you don't hit a home run. So all those things are like, it's a little thing inside a game that you go, oh, wait, did they add up? Win a battle, win a war. And a war being a series. How many times are you going to out-homer the Dodgers? I don't know. But again, it's the wrong staff to try to get healthy offensively. I have the numbers. Opponent on-base percentage, top 5. Opponent slugging, top 8. This is Dodger pitching, by the way. Opponent average, top 5. Opponent OPS, top 5. They're really like Milwaukee in the sense that it's tough to say we're going to ignite it here. But if 5 runs is the magic number, guess what can happen? Much like in Milwaukee, these can become bullpen games. Now, is it a bullpen game after 5? Is it a bullpen game after 6? How many outs do you get to not face a starter? And in case you're wondering, a couple of things. First of all, your stat of the day going into this whole series, the Dodgers have a longer losing streak at 7 than any of their win streaks. 6. They're currently on a 6-game winning streak, and I don't care they beat Colorado and Pittsburgh. They had to turn it around. They had a 7-game losing streak at the beginning of August. That's longer than their biggest winning streak, which they've established twice, which they're trying to beat tonight against the Braves. So nobody would have thought that the Dodgers would have longer losing streak than longer winning streak 3 weeks into August. That's a reality. Here's the other part of what the Dodgers got going on. With Tarek Skubal, who threw over 100 pitches the other day, with an off day, we're not going to face him. He's going to go against the Tigers in Detroit on Friday night. The Tigers, by the way, are 4.5 back. The idea of, okay, could they actually trade pieces and still be a wild card team? That's slipping away. Skubal's going to get a hell of an ovation in Detroit. It's all going to be good news, and then he's going to have to go pitch. But he did throw over 100 pitches. He pitched on Saturday, which many could have gone Thursday, but they're going to hold off. He'll pitch Friday. And we do know, obviously, what's going on tonight. Tyler Glasnow will come back, and he will get his push. What's also crazy is if you think about what the Dodgers could do in the bullpen, if they stay healthy the rest of the way after what Blake Snell is putting off, you got a World Series MVP from last year that nobody knows he won the MVP. That guy ain't going anyplace except actually to be a starter. The Dodgers bullpen is going to line up like a who's who of Are You Kidding Me? And this is where wallet whipping and this is where making a deal for Skubal pushes their rotation, obviously, an extra spot, but it also pushes somebody into a bullpen. And if they avoid the best of 3 and they start in the best of 5, that's when it will all come into play.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Now, all those guys are going to be facing the Braves offense. And I think with where the Braves offense is right now, you have to find some star to go on a heater. You have to find somebody to pick it up. Ronald, look, I love Ronald Acuña Jr. I really do. But over the last 3 years, is there a chance or is there proof that he can take over a team, take over for a couple weeks? Not really, because after the ACL last year, he was fine, but not a superstar. Before the ACL 2 years ago, he was fine, but not a superstar. So when you look at some of these players on this roster, we need Matt Olson to step up. That's the one guy where I look at, I'm like, I need him to go back on one of those runs where he had 7 home runs in 13 games or whatever it is. Because one thing that really stood out to me is Michael Harris II in that leadoff spot in Williamsport. Walt had been on this rotation, Drake, Ronald, whoever, depending on right, left. But now that Walt has proven that he will change that, to me, that makes it all about Matt Olson. Because whoever's up there, I don't care if it's you. I don't care if it's me. I don't care whoever it is. You have to take those guys who are 3rd, 4th, 5th in the lineup and have them knocking in more than themselves if they go on one of those big runs where the home runs do come back. Now, I think for everybody, it'd be great if the offense would dig out of this hole, but hitting is contagious. Hitting is contagious to a point. So to get this team out of this rut, you need to put up crooked numbers. They have not put up crooked numbers on that scoreboard. They haven't at all. And that is the key.
We gave the 9-game run where it was 80 innings, and 66 of the 80, you didn't score a run. And you only had 4 multi-run innings in 80 innings over a 9-game stretch. Now, hopefully that's going to be fixed. Here's my problem with the Matt Olson thing. You can tell me that you want Matt Olson to become the guy who's the best hitter on this team. It's problematic if I can actually say, well, if it's him, what do I do around him? I don't let him beat me. And that's a problem. You know, if this offense is good enough, I create a dilemma for you. I should not be finding enough easy outs to make it easy to pitch around Matt Olson. Now, when I say pitch around, I don't mind solos. You know, I don't care if a guy flips a solo home run. I really don't. If Matt Olson gets you with nobody on, he gets you. If he gets you with a couple of guys on, shame on you, because you're supposed to be a little bit smarter than that to actually stay away from him. I can't have only one guy being hot. This team is too good, too talented offensively to have me go, well, it has to be Matt Olson. It's supposed to be, well, it is Matt Olson, and there's Austin Riley contributing, and certainly it's Ronald, and Ozzie actually contributes. And if I don't have that going on, when you do that meeting before a series, just don't let Olson beat me. And that's a little bit easier to do than it should be. If the Braves are in a position where it's avoid that guy and we're going to be okay because they can't get to 5, that's a problem. And I'll say this about Ronald, because people lose their crap all the time about certain things. Ronald Acuña is an above-average player who can be elite at times, who's playing like an average player now. That's what he is. Austin Riley showed big-time power, elite power for his position, and he's not that now. Ozzie had a 93-game stretch where it hasn't been very good when we know it could certainly be better. And while you say it's Olson, I kind of look at Ozzie as always believing, and I think Michael Harris has ended this conversation. I'm kind of going to go team-wise offensively as those two guys go, because I know what Olson can do for me. I know that, again, we have not hit a bunch of 3-run homers this year, and it's problematic because 1-run leads don't turn to 4, 1-run deficits don't turn to 2-run leads when you don't have that one swing here's 3. They're not setting us up, and they're not taking advantage of maybe any opportunity that's been afforded them to actually be a home run hitting team, which some of the numbers still tell you they are, but it really is cooled off. I think it's Michael Harris and Ozzie now who need to, if you're going to talk about contagious, and I don't know if I really believe it. I just think sometimes, quite honestly, you get a guy in a day, whether he's a 5.5 or a 2.5 ERA, where you just got him that day, and you run through 7 guys, you know, in an inning, and then the next time you run through 7 guys, and you go, you know what that guy just did? He just gave up 4. I think Michael and Ozzie are the guys who actually extend and maybe get to your point of being contagious, because those guys on the base path, those guys actually going well, seems to be when more opportunities get generated. Then you just got to figure out how to cash them in.
Now, with this Dodgers team, the pitching staff for the Dodgers, we talked about this earlier in the show. It's just a freak show of great pitchers. If it is going to set up for the Braves to have success, it kind of is. You mentioned Tyler Glasnow coming back, Roki Sasaki, number 2, and then Yoshi Yamamoto versus Chris Sale, or what a great matchup that is. But it is sort of set up for the Braves to have a little success. So with Tyler Glasnow, you know, Bryce Elder is the biggest, you know, factor for me. We've talked about who's going to be that number 2, who's going to be that number 3. Good Bryce, bad Bryce, whatever. Bryce Elder did beat this Dodgers team. Now, he needed help. He did struggle with the control, but he has a win against this Dodgers team in his back pocket this year. He knows what to expect from these hitters. I think for Bryce, you have to sort of recreate big spots, right? He has one start in the postseason. It was 3 years ago. I know people want to harken back to that. I don't care. Bryce has come a long way since then, added pitches, refined pitches, whatever. But if you're talking about players, talking about pitchers who need to show you they can come through in big spots, it is Bryce Elder. Getting off to a great start in this series would be huge, because then Roki Sasaki's been up and down, and then you have your ace going. I want to see Bryce keep this game in control, give his team a chance to win. You can't have that 3-run inning where things go completely south, because then against this Dodgers lineup, you're screwed. It's just not going to happen. Of all the people in this series, of all the eyes, of all the, you know, attention for Braves country, it's tonight, and it's Bryce Elder. Can he come through in a big spot? He has not played in a big spot, in my mind, really, since that playoff start 3 years ago. So I think a lot of pressure on him.
Well, look, you mentioned the Braves are set up to have a little bit of success. I watched Blake Snell come off the IL and just shove, and all he's continued to do is shove. So I don't know if Glasnow is going to be the guy. Now, are they going to keep an eye on him? Yeah. Can you make him uncomfortable? Yeah. Can you actually get him in stressful situations? Yeah. I would like for that to happen, because I'd like their bullpen to get a little bit beat up, because they had an off day yesterday. I would like their bullpen to get a little bit beat up tonight, and maybe it affects them for the rest of the series. And that's what we talk about, battles and wars. If the battle is the game, or if the battle is innings inside a game, the war turns into the 3-game series. Win the battle tonight, make sure Glasnow doesn't go too long, make sure they have to use a little bit more of their bullpen, and maybe it sets up for the next couple of nights where you have a little bit of success. Certainly do it 2 nights in a row, and if the pitching duel doesn't come to be on Thursday, now all of a sudden they might actually have to think about who they're going to use and who they're not going to use, who's down and who's not down. Here's the thing. RBIs per game, they're 4th. Runs per game, they're 3rd. Hits per game, they're 3rd. Walks per game, they're 4th. Strikeouts per game, they're 6th. This is sort of like Milwaukee with bigger names. You know, this is a well-balanced team. Now, Pages being down is huge. That's a huge deal for them to lose that type of piece. But I know who I know is a pain in the rear end on this team, and it's Max Muncy. You know, Will Smith is not around. Will Smith has been that guy. He's rehabbing, so it's not going to be him. Pages down. But Max Muncy is a guy that I always worried about. It was like Justin Turner. There were certain guys on certain teams that you just go, you know, I don't want to see that guy up in a big situation. In this series, he's not the biggest star. He's just not. There are bigger names all over the place. But Max Muncy turns out to be the guy that I just don't want to feel at the end of the series that Max Muncy has done the damage to us. Their offensive numbers are really good. They're Milwaukee, as I said, with a bigger payroll. They're Milwaukee with bigger stars. What did we see against Milwaukee? If you're going to play a low-scoring game, one-run game, and by the way, the Braves, I think, are 19-19 in one-run games now. The idea of playing this to a bullpen game for the last 9 outs to actually score a couple of runs, it's going to be more interesting. The headline is always going to be, when you have teams like this, who's the starter? You talked about Bryce Elder and what his role is going to be. Bryce Elder could do his job, then the bullpen might have to do theirs. And we have found out, certainly in the month of August, and it happened in the month of June, handing the ball to the bullpen for a hold situation. Don't give up any more. Give me an opportunity. I have 9 outs left. Well, if we're going to start thinking about 9 outs left, and if we're going to start thinking about 3-run homers, it's been a while. And it's something you can want, it's something you can wish for. But I told you over the course of the weekend, I'm not really sure that I'm ready to dictate, oh, tonight's the night. I don't think Glasnow gives you any better chance to hit home runs than anybody you faced on that road trip. I just don't, because he's been there. I don't think he's going to be a guy that's trying to get back every start that he missed. I think he's too old for that. I think he's too mature for that. I hope you get him the old-fashioned way, bang, bang, 2 3-run shots, and all of a sudden he's going bye-bye in the 4th inning. That'd be great. I'm just, because this team has not done it, and because I don't believe that Glasnow is really susceptible to that, even coming back off the IL, it's a hope and it's a want. And I'm going to tell you something, and I know that everybody harkens back to 2023 when you looked at this offense. There were 2 things that I thought in 2023 a lot of nights. Down a run, no problem. No problem. 8th inning, tie game, no problem. I have both of those bullets in my gun. Right now, I'm not sure we do. And the other one that I'm really a little bit nervous about is using my bullpen to keep a game close as opposed to holding on to a lead. There's been a lot of that recently.
You mentioned Max Muncy. Of all the Dodgers, is there a more nondescript career? I mean, or just underlooked career? That guy has had a phenomenal year. Do you
have a computer in front of you?
I do.
Okay. Look up Max Muncy, where he ranks all time in Dodgers home run history. Just do it, because I don't want to. I want you to look down, and I want your reaction when you see Max Muncy all-time Dodger home run list. And you tell everybody what that piece of paper or your computer says once you get it up there. Because you said nondescript. Because of their star power and because of guys, Kyle Tucker, who, by the way, we haven't even talked about. Now, I don't know if he was crying in the dugout the other night. I don't know what was going on. No, I'm serious. They were booing him because defensively he made a couple of plays. Well, that was 4+ months of pent-up frustration by Dodger fans. I'm going to tell you what I think the Dodgers are going to do, and we saw this in Philadelphia. I think they're going to get off Kyle Tucker's back. I think they're going to actually rally around him because they're still a good team without him. They certainly know they'd be a better team with him. I think Dodger fans now are going to pull what happened in Philadelphia, when you're just going to give the guy a standing ovation the next time he gets home and say, hey, man, we still love you. You're still a guy that we need in the postseason. Do you know that his AAV is the highest in baseball? He signed a 4-year, $240 million deal. He's got a higher AAV, than Soto, who is at 58. That's why Dodger fans got on him. When we say, oh, Dodger fans, they're laid back, they show up late, they do this, they do that. Well, they don't boo anybody. They're too laid back for that. Well, they boo Kyle Tucker because he's been horrific. I think they're going to take the opposite approach with him in September. I think Dodger fans are going to say, hey, man, it's all good. Let's actually try to get this guy on track. So did you find the Max Muncy thing?
Max Muncy all time, including home runs without the Dodgers. And this, I mean, with Duke Snider, Gil Hodges, Eric Karras, Mike Piazza. All time, he has 190 home runs. That is 9th all time. That is ahead of Mike Piazza. People forget about the Dodgers era with Mike Piazza, but 9th all time with home runs with 190. That is insane.
Well, go look at it as the Los Angeles Dodgers. Do you have that number?
I will find that. Just give me one second.
Start eliminating all the Brooklyn guys.
It's ridiculous. I mean, he's one of those guys where you will forget where, when we do our pop quiz, we do our pop quiz on the local show, before every single game or most games. And, there are questions that you ask sometime and I'm just like, where did that come from? And Max Muncy is going to be that guy. He's going to be that guy where you look back and you're like, my goodness, how in God's name did that happen? So yes, when it comes to Los Angeles Dodgers, all time, 235. That is 5th all time.
Yeah.
in home runs. That's insane.
So I'm just telling you that this guy is that guy who becomes a pain in the rear end, but he's not the biggest star on his team. And Will Smith is one of those guys, and I'm glad he's not around because I also feel the same way when he comes up. He just seems to step it up a little bit more. And we talk about it. You got a guy win a World Series MVP last year that you said, oh, wait, was that supposed to happen? When a pitcher wins a World Series MVP, you've actually done something. And now what that usually means is you're coming out of the bullpen on top of being a starter. That's the role. The Dodgers are going to be filthy rich when it comes to if their guys and Glasnow stays healthy and Snell stays healthy and Ohtani gets back on the mound, which, by the way, is going to happen after they leave here. It looks like he's going to pitch on Saturday with Skubal on Friday. In Detroit, you're going to have Skubal and Ohtani. Now, I'm assuming, even though the Tigers are 4.5 back, they're going to show up. They're going to buy tickets to go watch these two matchups to, see if they can actually get themselves back in a wild card race, but because the Dodgers are a draw. You know, that's the type of night, 2 nights in a row, that you're going to sell a bunch of tickets in Detroit. And good for them. I'm all for commerce. But the idea that we're missing Skubal and Ohtani, and we're still worried because offensively, you know, the Braves have got to find a way to do it. Now, one other thing, I don't think you'll see, my guess is you will not see the same lineup 3 nights in a row playing the Dodgers. And there'll be a couple of reasons for it. Is Michael Harris going to hit leadoff again? We'll see. You win the game. Maybe that's going to happen. Do you care about lefty-righty? Do you care about where you hit Ozzie because he's a switch hitter? I think he hit cleanup the other day. Yeah. Because you just wanted to say, well, I got it from both sides, whether they come out of the bullpen or not. I think Walt and company, and I hate the expression shake it up, because, again, that goes back to just more of a hope. There's feeling, there's instinct, there's numbers that will tell you, I think this is what we want. Problem for the Braves is, when I looked at the Dodgers' offensive numbers, they actually get enough guys on base where the top of their lineup is coming up 5 times. You know, 1, 2, 3, and 4 might get that 5th at bat if you're scoring enough. That's the other thing that we've been missing, right? How many times have we seen over the last 10, 12 games where I get down Matt Olson and a little bit below for 5 ABs? I'm not even taking advantage of the top of my lineup because I'm not finding enough ways to get on base and create enough to get me 5 ABs. Do that against the Dodgers, that bullpen game might not go your way. I'd like to put some pressure on them by knowing that we're going to get that 5th crack, tie game, 1-run game, up 1, down 1. That top of my lineup comes around at least one more time to give me a chance to win with the best of my lineup actually getting that opportunity.
One thing heading into this series is I think now we've gotten to a point where Mauricio Dubón is going to be the everyday shortstop. Jim Jarvis down, Brewer Hicklin up. I think now what that means is that Mauricio Dubón is going to be that everyday guy. That also means you're going to see Lane Thomas, you're going to see Mike Yastrzemski, maybe you're going to see both of them. But I think with what Mauricio Dubón is able to do in the clutch, plus what he can do fielding, he's not a liability. In fact, he is a really, really good defensive shortstop.
Helped save the game the other day.
Absolutely did. So now I think we're kind of settled. Okay, this is what it's going to be. Everybody healthy, perfect situation. This is how this defensive setup will be. Ha-Seong Kim might as well be out of sight, out of mind. He's the other shortstop. So who's going to be there? It is now Mauricio Dubón. I am perfectly fine with that. We've talked about how at some point you have to get rid of this Jim Jarvis situation because he has become too light of a hitter. Yes, he has the 1 home run, which last year with Nick Allen was 1 more than he had. But you have a guy now who is a power hitter, or enough of a power hitter where he can provide you at least a little pop, but more importantly, not a liability in the lineup. So that's one thing now that I think the Braves can look forward to. Plus, we did see it yesterday in Williamsport, 2 stolen bases. That, to me, we've talked about this. I know it's not necessarily in their DNA, even though we thought it was going to be in their DNA, but that, if we can build off of that, is going to be huge going into this Dodger series and going into September when there are going to be times where this offense does struggle.
I want you to have to worry about more. That's what the stolen base, the threat of the stolen base does. I imagine Sean Murphy is going to get a start behind the plate. I'm kind of curious to see what else they want to do in terms of pitcher-catcher matchup where Drake will actually DH. There'll be a game probably where Ronald will DH. I think that'll happen. But there were also things that I look at with Sean Murphy, and you know, I know he had an RBI the other day, and it was an infield guy slips. Whatever, screaming line drive in a box score is what everybody can tell you. But Sean Murphy, whether it's a bat speed problem, whether it's just, if there's no threat of a home run, I'm not expecting much from Sean Murphy. I can't have that and Jim Jarvis, and we figured out, okay, well, that can't happen because the light-hitting shortstop really works well. Good defensive shortstop when the team is going better offensively as a whole. That's not happening. It wasn't happening. So you're going to do the thing, and I agree with you that Dubón is going to be your shortstop every day. But when Murphy catches, do I get anything out of him? And I said, can I get to 5 ABs? Well, we had an opportunity. He popped up in the infield. Austin Riley struck out. You didn't cash in a couple of opportunities. We got lucky in the sense that the Brewers usually do. They had a bases loaded, no out, bases loaded, 1 out, and didn't score either. That's un-Brewer-like. And I don't even watch them a lot, but doing their numbered junk stuff that I did before that series, that doesn't happen very often to them. It's happening way too much for us. You win that game, you wipe your brow, you take Monday off. You can't, if those at-bats find the wrong guys and you pay the price that you don't score, Ronald getting picked off on the wide turn at third, all those things are not necessarily conducive when you're 19 and 19 in one-run games. You're asking your bullpen to hold instead of hold a lead. I would just like to see a couple of things get cleaned up. I would love for Sean Murphy to have an offensive day. I would love for him to run into one, or I'd love to find a little bit of power. But I got to be honest with you, there's no indication, almost 40 at-bats in, that he's that guy. He's gone on a couple of those where he'll hit a few home runs. I'm not expecting ball and play a lot. I'm not expecting a lot of base hits, but I'd like to see him drive the baseball. I'd like to see him hit a home run, get off the schneid, and maybe enjoy that, and maybe it'll loosen him up a little bit. But I don't know if it's going to happen. That's another hope. It's another wish and a want. Offensively, there seems to be a lot of that. I will say congratulations to the pitching staff, because the pitching staff absolutely has done their job. There's been a hiccup here, hiccup there, but this pitching staff was one of the reasons why the August record is what it is, and it's not worse. So we'll find out who gets the best of it over the next 3 days. It's going to be pretty exciting across the street. Everybody knows star power. I think the 3-letter networks, the 4-letter networks are going to be talking about this series as much as any in baseball for the next 3 days, and rightfully so. And can the Braves actually close the gap between them and the Dodgers when it comes to both win and loss columns? Because that would actually lead to 4-2, take this series 2-1, don't have to worry about a tiebreaker with them, and getting closer to the Dodgers and or Milwaukee over the next few days would certainly be something as the calendar is going to flip to September sooner, not later. All right, Barrett and I will actually be back coming up during the next series. We'll be here on Friday. Make sure you're around Braves Central. I want to thank Marietta Toyota for bringing us this to you, And Marietta Toyota, about a mile down Cobb Parkway South from where I'm sitting in the Battery. They've been doing it since 1975, 51 years, family-owned and operated car dealership where they have said the best customer is a satisfied customer. A satisfied customer comes back and tells other people. 51 years of that, giving people a better deal on a car, whether it's new, whether it's pre-owned, electric trucks, it doesn't matter. They've got it all at Marietta Toyota. I want to thank Jared and his people. Remember, if you're looking for a deal for the family that you didn't think you can get, Marietta Toyota is the place for you.
Yeah, thank you guys at Marietta Toyota. Thank you guys for listening. And I think with this particular series, this is one of those things where everybody's excited, right? Everybody's excited for the Dodgers, and when you get that schedule, everybody finds out, okay, this is a ticket that I have to have. This is a ticket that I have to have. This is one.
Do you know what both sides actually wrote about? Starting with Milwaukee, and I did start to read their guys, and I read the Dodger guys. There are these Substacks where you can actually find news and notes about all these teams, and you can find out, is the sky falling? That was the Dodger thing just a couple of weeks ago. Same guy comes back and says, nope, it's not. 6-game winning streak. Now, again, Colorado and Pittsburgh, if you want to play the relative, who did you beat? But it doesn't matter. You're going to play 162, and really at the end of the day, whether you like the win column or the loss column, 6 in a row is 6 putting in the bank, and it's tied for your longest win streak. The other thing that I found out is both Milwaukee, we did it here, and both in Milwaukee and Los Angeles, it's October baseball in August, and that's a bonus for everybody. Does it sharpen you up? Does it wake you up? The dog days of summer that everybody talks about, well, put those aside because you're playing a series where, quite honestly, you are testing yourself, but you're playing a series that you get up for. Give credit to the Dodgers in this regard. You play Colorado and Pittsburgh, and those are the ones, I'm not really sure I can get up for it. Well, they're playing for something. They're playing for either the number 1 seed. They're trying to maybe catch anybody in the American League who might end up with a similar record. Can I actually have if the Dodgers are thinking World Series, and they are, you know what they would like? Home field advantage in the World Series. So when you play Colorado and Pittsburgh, it's not like you're playing for nothing. But I just hear over and over again that players realize, man, August is long. August feels like it's finally time. This has hit me like a brick wall. Well, how do you run through it? Go on a 6-game winning streak and then play the series that everybody is now talking about as being a playoff preview. Milwaukee Braves, playoff preview. Milwaukee Dodgers playoff preview. There's a 3-way round robin with the Philadelphia Phillies thrown in. And I'll ask you, nobody talks about the Cubs enough. You know how I feel about the Padres. Arizona's trying to hang around even with the Ketel Marte mess. The National League is fascinating this year, maybe more so than in a lot of years. And I'm sort of glad we're living in a city where we're a part of it. All right, we got to go. Don't forget, Barrett and I will be back on Friday. Really appreciate it. Hope every Braves fan is now sort of going to be buckled in. Grab your popcorn, as the man said, and enjoy Braves and Dodgers coming up.
Yep, find your way into the stadium. Be loud, be proud. Do all of the things that make Truist Park one of the best home field advantages in Major League Baseball. We will be back. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. See you before the next series.
At Marietta Toyota, we've proudly supported youth athletics in our community with quality vehicles like the 2025 Camry, built for winning teams like yours. Marietta Toyota, we've been here. We're going to be here for you.